Morning, everybody. Jim Adkins here from Adkins Results Coaching with the next question. How did you do on the relationship and the respect? I saw a couple of responses, and I talked to some people personally, some of my clients, some of my students, some of my friends, and pertaining to the question of the last workshop, I had a couple of them. And one, are people really still that way? Do they really? If you haven't watched it, or if you're just tuning in, the question from the previous workshop was, excuse me, a couple of my questions anyway. Do people really get offended when you show manners? Is chivalry dead? And in the sense of, holding a door for somebody, and and I'm not picking on genders at all, but the way it separated itself and the information that came back to me was that a few women, ladies, very nice ladies, very strong ladies, some smart ladies, seem to have in their past, because they're growing, right, and they're becoming these magnificent people, even better than they were, in their past, seem to have a hang-up or two about chivalry or respect or manners. And it's not just the ladies. It came across as everybody did, but right now I'm going to choose the ladies' responses, then I'll move to the gentlemen. But the ladies' responses seem to have something to do with their strength and how they were represented by others, how other people saw their strength. And not being a lady, I try my best to empathetically place myself in a non-gender role to try to feel or understand those feelings. It's not that hard to do, but I always come back to okay, but it doesn't matter what other people think of you. That's none of your business. And that's easy to say. It's real easy to say, and not so easy to apply all the time. And it seems, since we're all different, we all have different backgrounds and we all have different paradigms that have set, and we're working in different areas of our life to grow. It's different for every individual. And as a coach, I understand that more than anybody, I think. But I do want to point out this. The remarks were similar in their response. If a gentleman or a person, a man, holds the door open for you, are you offended by that? My question is, does it offend people and make them mad? I have heard stories where ladies just get belligerently mad. Now, that's on them. That shows that there's something wrong inside there with them. It has nothing to do with you, really, for holding the door. But these stronger women who still can find it offensive but don't have the story that they are strong and they want people to know that. Not in a direct way. They didn't say that. They said that they want them, if somebody feels that they're not strong enough, or they're the weaker sex, or they're not smart enough to do something, that becomes a condescending feeling, and it makes them feel like they need to attack that position, not necessarily the person, but the position, and point out that they are. Well, that's not unlike a lot of people in a lot of different areas: martial artists, business owners, teachers. If somebody challenges your authority or your expertise, unless you're really at ease with who you are and where you are, I have noticed other people, and even myself in the past, jump to educate that person on just how much you really know. We really know, right? And I think that just stems from lack of self-confidence in the area that you're growing, or the feeling of unworthiness, to the idea that maybe it took you a lot to get to where you're at, to develop that inner strength as a woman and as a lady and as a person in an environment in your past or your youth where it wasn't looked upon as normal or regular. People were suppressing. And listen, they do. I know that there's some suppression, or there was some suppression going on of that type, from a lack of knowing or understanding. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not gonna judge it. But if you come out of that, you want people to know it, and you want to know it more than anything else. And if you don't test it on a regular basis, or if you're not forced to show it on a regular basis, and somebody sets you in a position to where you may have to question it for a second, it comes out differently. I hope I didn't run you in a circle, but that's one of the results that I got. Another one it was, the manners. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Please and thank you. Do people get mad at you for saying that? And, the answer is even some of my close students still have hangups in their 40s and 50s with the whole yes, sir thing. And adamantly so that we're, even one of them shared with me last night that I offended him by calling him by his last name, Mr. So-and-so. And he never said anything to me about it. Maybe once in the very beginning, but I don't change my manners or my methodology in martial arts because somebody has a hang up about it. We work through it. And we did. I just let it go one ear and out the other. And we worked through it, and the respect has always been there. But I didn't know that. And it if somebody called me Mr. Adkins, and I was 12. Somebody called me Mr. Adkins. I took it as a sign of respect. I never once got pissed and said, hey, no, that's my father, not me. Don't call me Mr. Don't call me Mr. Adkins. I don't understand why anybody would do that. Well, it turns out that the paradigms that they're created when they were younger, we talk about this in our beliefs, and I'll come back and revisit beliefs again, that if you believe or if you're taught or trained emotionally, subconsciously, whatever, in your inner being as a young person, that calling somebody Mr. or calling somebody yes, sir, has been forced upon you, and the association of the two was a bad experience, there's that anchor. How many of you like liver? Right? I was forced to eat liver as a child one time, and I hate it, can't smell it, can't look at it, won't know. Why? I choose not to. But there's an anchor there. When I was a kid, the whole situation that it was put upon me, it ruined it forever. Now, whether its liver is fantastic or not, I don't know, and I'll never know. Why? I don't care. I don't want anything to do with it. It's not like it has anything to do with the rest of my life. But being called yes, sir, or no, sir had the same effect on some people. Interesting, right? Let's go to the next question. I'll get off of here for you. And then Friday, when we come back on, I've got some very interesting stuff about being able to change your mind by changing your subconscious and changing your world. We were talking about the growth and how I was learning about that, and how radiance of cellular regeneration plays a part in not only changing who you are, your life, your mind, your subconscious, but changes you as a person, the cellular regeneration. And I'm doing some interesting research on fasting. Don't go out and fast before you understand what you're doing. Please don't do it, but I will share information with you on Friday. Okay, so let's get moving on to the next question for Radasi. Radasi, remember, is a friend of mine, working on intuitive healing and teaching people meditation and some wonderful things like that. And one of her questions was, after we sat and talked, was with relationships and dating. And I'm not, when I read the last one, I misunderstood the question about respect for men and women. We corrected that. Here's the next one that I wanted to talk about: relationships and dating. How to date, how to clear relationship blocks or habits. And I think we all understand that. This one intrigued me, and it's what I put on here because it's huge. Okay? How to become the person your ideal mate would be with. How would I coach somebody through that? How to become the ideal that your ideal mate would be with. There's a lot of, and as a coach, and I'm not going to share with you all my secrets, but they're pretty widely known on how you can help people, right? But let's break it down, which is a coaching tool. Let's break it down individually. Let's look at the words. Let's look at the sentence, and then let's look at the whole context of where it's at. How to become the person your ideal mate, and how she typed it would be with. Okay, so first of all, what's your ideal mate, and why aren't you with them now? Those are questions that we would need to answer, right? So, how do you define your ideal mate? I know some students. I have one student who has had. she's gone back and forth, and it changes. And I think we all do that. You pick something and it's perfect, and then you grow a little and you decide, no, that's not so important, and this is more important. Her ideal mate, at one point, looked the description was that of an elf. And I'm not talking about an elf. I'm talking about, the newer versions of an elf on some of the movies and television shows. She just found that very attractive and the personality type very appealing. And so she was looking for that type of guy. Now, are these unrealistic expectations? No. Maybe physical appearance or actual what would you call it? Nationality. I don't know if there are elves. There might be. I'm not going to say there's not, but when you put that kind of pressure on a relationship status, the chances of becoming successful and even locating that person become very slim. Is it impossible? Absolutely not. Not in this day and age. There's bound to be 2 or 3 elves out there, right? So in her paradigm or her belief, her ideal mate was this, for lack of a better term in my vocabulary, an elfin type person. Well, if that's her ideal mate, and you want to know, and the question is, how do you become the person that they would want to be with? We need to take that and look at ourselves real quick. If you're unhappy with who you are and you don't love yourself, how is it possible for anybody else to love you? If you're unhappy with who you are and you don't love yourself, it's almost impossible for people to love you as fully as you would hope. That lack of self-love sets it up so that when people do share love with you or want to radiate love in a back and forth relationship, there are self-sabotaging mechanisms that step up and go, I don't deserve this. And, whether it's subconscious or consciously, you start tearing down the relationship. And pretty soon you're in a pickle where you want to know how to become a person that they would want to be with. Well, you're looking for outside stimulation. And I know this isn't about Radase. I know that she's just smart and she's asking these wonderful questions. So this is a vague answer for a big question. So follow me for another 2 minutes here, or 3 minutes, and I'll let you go, and I'll give you a question. When seeking your ideal mate, and you define it, okay, my ideal mate's going to look like this, act like this, talk like this, walk like this, have this much money, do this type of job, live in this location, wear these type of clothes, say these type of things to me, do these things for me, rub my back, my feet, whatever. And that's your ideal mate. The more details you put on that ideal mate, the slimmer your choices become. That may be what you want. I'm totally okay with pinpointing exactly what you want and going for it. Totally okay with that. How about you? You good with that? Have you ever tried to advertise like on a social media? When you advertise on social media, they ask you, who would you like to see your ad? And you start looking through options of types of people, demographics, and locations, and so on and so forth. The more stringent you become with who you want to see your stuff, the less amount of people they will show it to. Why? You eliminate people. If you do that in a relationship seeking area, you eliminate some potentially wonderful people in your life. And to top it off, if you feel you're unworthy and you need to change to become a person that they will be with, you've really set yourself up for an uphill climb. Ain't no hill for a high stepper, right? Well, you better start stepping high, because when you do that to yourself at anything, it takes a lot of work to get to where you think you want to be, sometimes to find out that maybe that's not exactly what you want. When you sat down at Thanksgiving this last couple of weeks and you looked at the wonderful food on the table and went, I want all of it. And you started eating everything. At the end of the meal, was it possible that you sat back and went, oh man, man, I shouldn't have ate all that. Same thing's true sometimes when you go forward and try to pinpoint exactly what you want, only to find that when you get there, you don't match with what it is. Boy, I really want that suit. Remember Eddie Murphy in his purple leather suit? I'll bet he thought that was the coolest thing in the world when he had it hanging on the rack. As soon as he put it on, he probably went, that's the last time I'm going to wear that. He got him attention, right? So how do you become the person that your ideal mate wants to be with? My advice, my opinion, my coaching strategy would do this. First, become the person that you love the most. Become the ideal person yourself. Seek to radiate all of the wonderful things that you would want in another person that you would want to love you, and then love yourself for those reasons. Does that make sense? That's how I would coach somebody. As far as relationship blocks go, we all have history. We all have a past. We all have hiccups and stumbles in the road. Have we blamed other people for it? Yes, probably. Have we ever sat down to look at the faults in ourselves? I hope so, because listen, as wonderful as a person as I am trying to become in my past, I can point out in relationships that failed or didn't come to fruition, friends and of the opposite sex, I was at fault. I know, hard to believe, isn't it? But there was partly my fault. There was a two-way street. But you look back at that and you go, that doesn't belong not only in their life, they didn't deserve that, but in my life. Or at that time, we were incompatible because this is where they were, this is where I was. Or this is where I needed to go, this is where they were going. And we went in different directions. Ideal person, so that your ideal mate would want to be with. I know that there may be a different question in there, but as it's written, I hope I answered it. Become the best ideal person that you can love. Love yourself first. You will radiate an energy that will draw to you people that will love you. And when you're ready to find that person to share your life with, listen, this is key. When you're ready to find that person to share your life with, they will appear everywhere. Your reticular activating system will kick on and you will notice all the fantastic, wonderful people in your life. And when you're ready, you're telling me this is crap. You're shaking your head. No, I'm ready. I'm looking. I'm working really hard. I'm 50 years old and I can't find anybody. Well, your attitude is keeping you from succeeding. Come see me. I'll fix it. I'll help you fix it. Let me say, I can't guarantee I'll do anything. You will, but I'll help you. When you're ready and you love yourself and you radiate that wonderful energy, the person that shows up will remind you of the ideal situation that you already love that exists within yourself. That makes sense? Good. All right, guys. I love you. And I hope I'm becoming an ideal friend for you. Not ideal, but at least a friend and a coach. And if I am, give me the thumbs up button. Or if we're becoming compatible, give me the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share it with other people that you think I can help. Please do that. Please share it with other people and have them subscribe too. I would like to know that by the end of the year, I'm helping a couple thousand people. That would be so wonderful. It would make me very happy. Not that it's your job to make me happy. We off track? That's me. All right, guys, have a fantastic day. It's Wednesday in our world right now. I will see you tomorrow, and then look forward to us on Friday when our regular show comes on in the morning, and we'll have some interesting things to learn about changing your subconscious, changing your mind, resetting who you are, and fasting and what it does for your stem cells. I love you. On your mark, get set, grow.